So recently, I read that the Bombay High Court recently did not allow a person who was accused of offences punishable under the Customs Act for taking embryos and smuggling them into India by calling them stem cells. Although I doubt how much of a difference there is, but it got me thinking about what all scenarios you are committing an offense without even knowing about it when you go to an airport or are landing at an airport in India. Some things which you need to be careful about. One of them, couple of countries, predominantly the United States and a couple of other countries, they allow you to carry arms ammunition as part of their fundamental rights. India does not. India carrying of any arms or any ammunition is a punishable offense under the Arms Act. I have had instances of American clients going through the Indian airport having a stray bullet here and there lying around, because of which they face action under the Arms Act. I had one such client had to get the matter quashed from the Delhi High Court with a very flimsy reasoning given by the courts of law, saying that it is not conscious possession. Apart from that, there are several other instances. For example, an American client recently engaged me because he was apprehended by the airport security, wherein what had happened was that he had tried to use one of the dummy tickets that people commonly use, especially to get to apply for visas, especially for Schengen nations, because they ask for um, a ticket, a confirmed ticket. So instead of actually making a reservation, they ask their travel agents to make a dummy ticket, which they use to then apply to an embassy. This person, however, used the dummy ticket to actually enter the airport. At that point of time, it was not a problem at all. But the moment he tried to walk out of the airport, he was caught and an FIR was registered against him by the police of Indira Gandhi International Airport, saying that he tried to use a forged document as a genuine document, which is a punishable offense, punishable up to 7 years of imprisonment. That was sorted out by taking a plea of guilt before the concerned magistrate in Delhi. In fact, it happens so routinely with the Indira Gandhi International Airport. I don't know about others across the country, but it happens so routinely at IGI Airport in Delhi that now the magistrate has a set format. If someone is found using a dummy ticket and makes a plea of guilt, otherwise the trial would last for several years. But if the person wants to make a plea of guilt, the court convicts them, does not give any imprisonment, just imposes a fine of, I believe, 21,000 rupees. Another situation, I have worked for the prosecution for certain departments such as the Customs Department and the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence. A lot of times what they do is that they will prosecute you for offences under the Customs Act. Offences being bringing in prohibited items or trying to bring out of the country, to smuggle out of the country prohibited items. Commonly imported or commonly brought in prohibited items which people don't even know about. Satellite phones. Satellite phones are used across the world by people and they have licenses by their home countries for the same. India, those licenses don't work. You come to India with those satellite phones like Iridium and a couple of others, you will be arrested on the spot. Bringing in gold above a certain amount. The amount keeps changing, look it up. If you carry gold or any other these prohibited items beyond a certain amount, you will be arrested. You will not even be granted bail. You will have to approach a court of law for grant of bail. Goes without saying, narcotic substances such as hashish, ganja, cocaine, heroin, all of these are prohibited items. Even possession anywhere in the country for that matter is a punishable offense. There are people who are caught smuggling them out or carrying small quantities with them and not knowing what kind of a punishment this attracts. Very, very severe offenses. You have to be careful about that as well. Other instances. Recently, a woman was arrested because at the airport, because her passport was tampered with. What had happened was that she had given her passport to a travel agent who, for some reason best known to him, took a page out of that passport and then tried to reattach it. They saw the glue marks, and the Passport Act says any efforts of tampering with the passport is a punishable offense under the Passports Act. For that reason alone, the woman was arrested. Other situations: taking out of the country. Sanders wood is an item which is prohibited to be taken out of the country. People, you take that out, it will be a problem. There is an entire list of objects which you cannot either smuggle in or smuggle out of the country. It is available online. Long and short of it, most of those things you will not be worried about unless you are, some sort of a medical practitioner or you have some sort of a medical ailment. Those are situations where you will need to be careful about. These were all just the top of my head. There are many more situations where I have seen. Another one, for example, taking out goods which are considered antiques or antiquities. A German national, I believe, a couple of years ago. In fact, it keeps happening from time to time. Citizens from other countries come down to India in the pursuit of getting some sort of valuable good which might fetch a lot of value, or which is a good collectible item, which has historical value, which is of any sort of antique purpose, any idol, any statue, any painting, anything of that sort, and they try to take it back home with them. They are apprehended by the police and they are prosecuted under the Customs Act, because the export of any of these items is prohibited under I believe, the Antiquities Act. So there are several other such scenarios where a person is prosecuted, where the person is apprehended at the airport. Forget about travel plans being spoiled. The person has to spend a lot of money on lawyers. The person has to spend a lot of time in India, because especially if he's a foreign citizen, he wants to go back to his home country. The person will not be allowed to go back, usually by courts in India, because they are afraid that the person will not come back to face the charges that are pending against them. That is why you need to be extremely careful about what you are carrying into the country or what you are carrying out of the country, especially when you're traveling by airplanes. These were some of them. If I come up with something else, I'll put them down in the comments below.